Podcast.
Okay, so earlier this week, I was on a show, and the host of the show, who I don't know that well, she did the thing which is common. She asked me, "What do you want me to say when I bring you up?" And that's just asking, what credits do you want me to use in your intro? So I told her what I normally tell, which is I don't give a shit. I don't really say my credits. I'm like, whatever, just say whatever. And she goes, okay. And so her intro for me, she decides to say, this next guy coming to the stage, a great friend of mine. Give it up for Whopper Khan. Which I'm not Whopper. That's not me. I'm Whopper Khan.
Whopper's crazy.
Yeah.
Whopper's a new one. That's a new one.
Whopper, that guy, that's the comedian who has a special on HBO Latino, Not me, though.
You have a really popular Facebook video account. That's
Whopper Khan. After prefacing it with great friend of mine.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. That's almost, I feel like you've gotten all the crazy
I've gotten all of them. I've got everything you can imagine.
This next one, he ain't gonna come up here and bomb. Give it up, all that shit.
You don't want this motherfucker. Yeah, dude.
You don't want him bomb.
Yeah.
That's such a funny.
Yeah.
Just pure racism.
That was every time I would do Ali's show and Ali wasn't there, Ali wasn't hosting, it was someone else hosting. I'm not going to say any names, but every single one of them took the opportunity to do all the racial jokes they had before and after I completely bombed my set. I have a terrible set. And they were like, woo.
Well, at least he bombed that way and not the other way.
Exactly.
Am I right, folks?
Yeah. To thunderous laughter and applause. That was absent for the last 7 minutes.
We got $2 shots in the back. Just you bombing.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, oh my God. First off, I love, those are my favorite, walking into Ali's rooms and then I remember walking into Ali's room. I don't get no racist stuff. I would get why is this unfunny ass nigga on the show? I would just get screamed.
Yeah.
Ali would have to come up on the stage, grab the mic. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
All right, now keep telling your jokes.
Yeah. Literally.
I don't want to tell.
I would bomb for 7 minutes. I would bomb so bad that Ali would have to come on stage and chastise the audience.
Yeah.
Be like, you dumb motherfuckers.
Y'all don't know good comedy.
Y'all don't believe in this kid like I do? You idiots.
I was up there one time and Ali was like, I bombed and he was like, y'all don't appreciate shit. You ain't hear that joke. So you know what? And he pulled out $300 out his suit pocket. It was a Tuesday night. He was wearing a full out suit. Pulled out $300. He's like, I'm gonna buy that joke for you. I'm gonna buy that joke from you. Come here. And I'm like, bro, I'm 20, 21, broke as shit. $300 might as well have been $1 billion.
Yeah.
I was like, but that joke was literally all I had. And he was like, I'll buy that joke from you for $300. You ain't gonna recognize it.
What?
I was like, I need that money, but do I give him that joke? But yeah.
All right, last thing, we were talking about Ali Siddiq, by the way, who we love.
Yes.
I mean, he's a legend, living legend.
And you can see all his legendariness on YouTube. Ali Siddiq. I love that. When we were younger, Ali would complain. He'd be like, I'm just going to be a legend that nobody ever heard of. A whisper in the wind. I guess that's my destiny. I remember him saying that, and then now he's just fucking blown up and he's getting all the love and support.
But Ali, at the end of the day, he was intimidating in all his ways. But at the end of the day, at his core, he's a comedian in the purest form. And I remember one of the times, just the fact he would throw me up all the time and I would always bomb in his room. One of the times I bombed, same thing, went back on stage, chastised his audience that loved him and was there for the show for not laughing enough at my jokes. Then the next comedian he brings up is this guy. He's in a full yellow suit. Type of guy. I don't want to say too harsh words about this guy, but he does, what we call in the biz kind of hacky stuff in his big yellow suit.
DJ.
Yeah. And just murders, right? Brings the crowd completely back. Any host would be so happy to see the audience laughing at their own show. Not Ali. Ali comes back on after this guy did his job correctly at his show, grabs the mic and goes, well, that's a damn shame. That's a damn. He brings me up again. Joffer came up here. Joffer, where are you at? Joffer, that guy came up here. He had original thoughts, original ideas. You wouldn't give him time to. And he goes, this motherfucker comes up here shucking and jiving. And now that guy's looking at me. I'm like, bro, that's what it is. I wish I wasn't here right now. I don't like anything about what he just said.
Yeah. I will say this about Ali. Oh my God, this is my personal. We can start the podcast. We don't got to do the. We'll start the podcast after. But I remember I got JFL. It's like this real cool acknowledgement from the stand-up industry where they bring you out to fucking Canada, Toronto, and you get to go and hang out with all the big comedic stars, and it's like a really cool thing. You know, they only choose like 10 to 12 people every year, so it was like really exciting. I couldn't believe I got it. Like I was like, and I was still like very new to comedy, probably 6 years, 7 years.
Big deal, very big deal.
But I get out there and like, you know, the new faces of comedy is like, they're like, oh, they're all interested in like who they choose, who did they choose? And I remember running into Ali in Canada, because he's obviously a big name in comedy. He's going to be there. He sees me. We're walking towards each other. And the first thing Ali says out his mouth when he sees me, he goes, nigga, you? Yeah. He was perplexed. He was like, he's only, because rightfully so, he's only seen me struggle on stage. Yeah. So he was like, how the fuck did you get, he was confused. But throughout that entire, as soon as he saw me, throughout that entire weekend, all that came was coming back to me. I would be places, and like the next day, they were like, Ali was at that party last night. You ain't go? He was talking about you. Ali was like saying big, real good things about you, and this, that, like all throughout the weekend. He was just bigging me up throughout the festival, without me saying anything, without me even knowing that was going to get back to me. He was just doing it. Mm-hmm. So like that's who Ali was. He opens up, nigga, you, and then the whole weekend is just singing my praises throughout the festival. So like, shout out Ali. Yeah, shout out the OG. But let's get this thing cracking.
Let's start the show. Welcome to KAWPS The Podcast. Me and Ashton, two comedians, covering local police news that's kind of going under the radar. We always start with all the horror at once. We do all the headlines just to get it out of the way. And then we'll talk more in depth on some stories that are a little bit more fun to talk about than what we're about to go through. So let's start out. First headline. Cops in California kill a transgender sex worker who called 911. R.I.P. Linda Becerra Moran.
Cops in Michigan are facing a lawsuit for refusing to help a mentally ill woman and her children as they froze to death. R.I.P. Monica Candy, Malik Milton, and Kyle Milton.
20 jail cops in Las Vegas are charged with the deaths of 3 inmates. The victims' names are not yet released.
Cops in California leave an unhoused woman's dead body inside of her car for a month before a tow truck driver finds her. R.I.P. Monica Cameroni Day Adams.
Cop in Georgia arrested for killing 2 dogs.
Cop in Michigan is facing a lawsuit for killing a dog.
Cop in Hawaii is named in a Diddy lawsuit, the Diddy lawsuit, for using his badge to cover for Diddy's crimes.
Jail cop in California pleads no contest to sexually assaulting an inmate.
Cop in Oklahoma is convicted of sexually assaulting a woman during his very first shift as a police officer.
Cop in Massachusetts indicted for offering leniency to citizens in exchange for sexual favors.
Border cop in New York pleads guilty to demanding to see women's breasts before he allowed them to enter the country.
Cop in South Carolina is arrested for asking a woman he was arresting for sexual favors.
Cop in Ohio is facing a lawsuit for body slamming a handcuffed woman.
Cops in New York are facing a lawsuit for assaulting and forcibly removing the hijabs of Muslim women.
Cop in Maryland is indicted for child porn.
Cop in Georgia is arrested for child abuse.
Cop in Indiana is arrested for forcing his 6-year-old to stand outside in the freezing cold for hours holding a degrading sign.
Cop in Mississippi is arrested for domestic violence.
Cop in Texas is arrested for domestic violence.
Cops in Tennessee falsely arrested an autistic man for DUI.
Cop in Pennsylvania is charged with stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash from the evidence room.
Cop in New Jersey is charged with stealing hundreds and thousands of dollars in drugs from the evidence room.
Cop in Massachusetts is charged with assaulting the opposing team's coach in a children's soccer game. Those are
the stories,
the
folks.
headlines of the week.
I feel like
of
yeah.
the last 7 days.
God
of
damn.
our cop
Wait,
police.
did you say? Wait, hold on. Cop in Indiana was arrested for forcing his 6-year-old to stand outside in the freezing cold for hours, holding a
Yeah.
degrading
So like,
sign.
okay, so like, you know how like you'll see it on social media where like cops will like publicly, or not cops, where parents
yeah.
will publicly shame their own children, but they'll have them hold a sign that says like, I was caught stealing or something. So he made his 6-year-old daughter do that in like freezing cold temperatures.
To the point where he was arrested.
Yeah, well, other people were calling the cops.
Whoa, for 6? Oh my God.
Because she was out there for hours in freezing temperatures.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I need to know what the sign was. Like,
It's actually really insane. Like one of the signs was I threatened to kill my brother. I threatened to kill my sister. The other was like I need to take antipsychotic medication. So he has a mentally ill daughter, and she's 6, and he's emotionally and physically abusing her.
Oh my God. That's not even one of the stories we were talking about.
It's not.
That's not one of the stories.
We're taking a tangent right now.
I mean, it was just hit. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait.
Yeah. You were like, follow-up question.
Sorry.
Real quick.
I don't.
Yeah.
You said something earlier that we just went by. I don't.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's that. I mean, not even one of our. That's kind of the insanity of this podcast is all the stories that don't make the main episode and don't make our Patreon episode
Are still insane.
insane.
Why don't you just beat your kids like good parents? Right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Don't be this extra layered version of psychoticness.
Psychologically tormenting your kids. No, you're supposed to lightly, physically torment your kids.
And the fact that it's like with her mental illness, he's like, my daughter's mentally ill. Why? What could possibly make her be a mentally ill little girl? I have no idea. I have no idea why she could possibly be like this.
She keeps talking about this imaginary friend. I don't know what to do with this other than to sit her ass outside.
Yeah.
Yo, that's
Yeah.
All right, but that's
Why does my daughter have depression?
that's sick.
What could be wrong with her? Anyways, yeah, let's go on.
Sorry. Now let's preview the actual stories for today.
Today, what we will be covering in our main episode, we'll be talking about the police chief who has been named in the latest Diddy lawsuit. Cops in Tennessee falsely arresting an autistic man for DUI, along with hundreds more. A transgender woman killed by the LAPD after she called 911 for help. An off-duty police officer assaulting a coach at a girls' youth soccer game, and a sheriff raising hell over a Burger King order.
Yes. Great stories, but today we'll start off.
But wait.
Oh, sorry.
We got to do the Patreon. What are we on the Patreon?
Okay, yeah, we're plug the Patreon episode. On our Patreon, we'll be covering the latest in a string of legal settlements involving Chicago police framing black men, a deep dive on police killing our pet dogs, and lastly, some cop-on-cop crime in Detroit. So check out the Patreon, subscribe to $5 a month. It'll get you so many free extra episodes. They're full-on episodes. Very funny, very informative. Check us out on Patreon, please.
And while you're here, please give us a 5-star rating on
5-star
Spotify.
boys. Come on. We work 10 stars.
Yeah.
But we'll take the 5.
That would help spread the word. Appreciate y'all. So now, let's start the episode. Ashton, you got our first story.
Our first story is, we starting off strong.
And let me, real quick, this could be said for our entire podcast, but a little trigger warning for... For the Diddy lawsuit, the Diddy allegations. We're going into the Diddy allegations.
Yes, definitely trigger warning. We are talking about the Diddy allegations, which, if you've been paying attention to the news this week, some new allegations hit with very notable celebrities like Drewski and Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
But tonight we'll be talking about another person mentioned in that lawsuit, the Maui, who was it?
Police chief.
Maui Police Chief John Pelletier. So let me take it to the Honolulu Civil Beat. Mayor Richard Bison has called for Maui Police Chief John Pelletier to be replaced on administrative leave in light of recent allegations that he played a role in an elaborate scheme that allowed people to be assaulted by rapper Sean Diddy Combs in 2018. At the time, Pelletier was a Las Vegas police captain in charge of an area that included the glitzy boulevard of hotels and casinos known as the Strip.
By the way, real quick, anyone who only wants to work in Las Vegas or Hawaii, don't trust them.
Yeah.
That guy, he's only got partying on his mind.
It's not even Las Vegas, Hawaii, and was it in Miami? Wait.
I don't know about Miami.
Yeah, it's Miami. Yeah.
But Las Vegas and Hawaii
you're
only
right.
is like, bro, you're not here to protect and serve. We know what you're here for. You're here to have a good time.
No, you're turning up. You're the Eric Adams of police officers.
Exactly.
That's like literally Eric Adams, police chief. All right, he went to the Eric Adams School of Policing. But on Friday, Pelletier's name was added to a long list of defendants that includes high-profile celebrities such as former Miami Dolphins star receiver Odell Beckham Jr. and comedian Drew Drewski Desportes, according to the lawsuit originally filed in October in the U.S. District Court for Northern California by Ashley Parham and two unnamed plaintiffs. Bison urged the commission to conduct its own independent review of the accusations. Parham says in the lawsuit that Pelletier had been posing as a sheriff in Contra Costa County, California, when she told him she had escaped to a neighbor's house after being violently graped by Combs, Desportes, Beckham, and others. She informed Pelletier that she did not have her phone, purse, clothes, or car keys, but he did not call emergency services or help her recover her belongings, and instead told her to find a way to get home, according to the lawsuit. Keep going. The two unnamed plaintiffs, a mother and a son who are identified in court documents as Jane Doe and John Doe, said they had witnessed Combs and other Great Parham after Pelletier abducted them from the residence in Las Vegas and brought them to the California home at gunpoint in a black SUV. The lawsuit says Pelletier told the mother and son that they were being extradited for warrants in California, according to court documents, but when they asked to see the warrant, Pelletier refused and threatened to shoot them. So he was like...
Really? Sorry.
He was pretending to be a cop in California. So he's like...
Yeah.
So he's a cop in Maui, cop in Las Vegas, but is now currently pretending to be a cop in Cali.
Yes. Really insane allegations.
According to the
where, pretending to be an officer and then kidnapping a mother and son at gunpoint, trafficking them across state lines to put them in, the control of Diddy to do obviously horrific things.
Yeah, I feel like you're covering this cop. This cop is basically, they're accusing him of covering up Diddy's crimes. Essentially.
But I would say even beyond covering up, like being a very much an integral part of it, like kidnapping people for him, bringing them to him.
Which that's a lot of work for one. Like you covering up Diddy's crimes, nigga. That's that's overtime and a half.
Yeah.
That's a lot of crime to be.
You got to have your own team.
And
you got to have a whole squad with your own Slack going on to keep track of all that.
That's like psychotic. Like you the bodyguard to the freak offs. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like Diddy coming out the room all oiled up. Like you using them handcuffs? Hey, can I use them handcuffs real quick?
Yeah. But covering someone escapes, calls 911, and then he's right there. Like, actually, let me pick that one up. Let me pick that one up, guys. Dude. I got this one. Hello?
Right, yeah. I'll continue because we should say
yes.
That. It is also said...
so now we're going to another article, Hawaii News Now.
Yeah, Hawaii News Now. Maui Police Chief John Pelletier said he can actually prove the explosive allegations in a civil lawsuit tying him to disgraced rapper Sean Diddy Combs are actually false. H&N Investigates obtained bank statements and receipts after a record request to the Maui Police Department. The statement showed Pelletier's credit cards was used multiple times in Las Vegas, Nevada on March 23rd, 2018. The complaint said there was a gang grape on that day in Orinda, California. Orinda is about 560 miles away from Las Vegas, about an 8-hour drive. I've never even visited the city of Orinda, said Pelletier in a statement. He also said he never visited Contra Costa County, where the lawsuit said he impersonated a sheriff's deputy to cover up for the alleged sexual assault. Pelletier said, I can unequivocally account for my whereabouts on that date with documented proof confirming I was in Las Vegas. The bank statement showed transaction at a Las Vegas Starbucks, an ATM, and an In-N-Out burger. There's also a receipt from a 24-hour fitness included in the record request that said Pelletier's credit card was used at the gym sale desk at 10:18 a.m., which is funny. his alibi is like, man, I was at Starbucks, I was at In-N-Out Burger, man, and then I went to the gym, obviously, because it's clearly a clear line of
honestly relatable. Going to the gym and be like, you know what? I deserve 5 Whoppers.
Very believable alibi, to be honest.
Yeah.
But also this is the same case where the lady is accusing Drewski of this is the same story where they're accusing Drewski of literally
slip and slide,
oiling his body up in baby oil, in the 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and slip and sliding his way into like a bowling ball into this lady's stomach, which is very comical, but also horrible if true. It's one of the, it's like
funny,
like also the worst shit in the world.
Yeah.
Like God. So no.
Well, I think the important thing to bring up with the Drewski part of it is his what he has said, that this is in 2018. I mean, I haven't looked much into it, but that's what he says, that it was in 2018. I was living with my mom during that time. I did not have these industry connections at the time.
This is like one of those stories when you look at everybody who was mentioned in the lawsuit, and then you go and they didn't just come out and say I didn't do it. They also were like, I was here. It just wasn't even. They're all saying like it's not even a possibility. I wasn't even famous. I wasn't even in the city. I could prove it. So there's just like a lot of things. Very.
We don't know obviously what happened, but look, police chief was mentioned in the Diddy lawsuit, so we got to bring it up. We got to talk about it. And it's funny because he this police chief is now angry. He's lashing out at the mayor because the mayor called for him to be put on administrative leave, and so now he's come out with this like seemingly legit alibi, and he's like, how dare you call for me to be on administrative leave before I even have a chance to explain myself. But I want to be like, bro, like you're named in a Diddy lawsuit. Like, and even if one of my best friends who I trust with my life, if you're named in a Diddy lawsuit, bro, let's cancel plans for Tuesday.
I love you, but if you were named in a Diddy lawsuit, it would be me and fucking.
and I would appreciate that. I'm like, that's why you're my friend, because you would put some. You want me to take a beat, take a beat.
No, we gonna get in. My neighbor is gonna actually fill in your spot for next week's episode. We be good.
He's the police chief.
He's got a lot going on right now.
Exactly.
You don't even want to do this, right?
And I know, like, due process, I respect all that, but there's not that many names in these lawsuits, and you were one of them. And so the fact that he's the police chief, he's like the chief, he's got people he's in charge of. I mean, how are they supposed to take orders from a man whose name they know is on the Diddy lawsuit?
Yeah, there's freak off jokes going. People are too immature about this subject, man, to not be like, oh yeah, big police chief, that's because your ass was in a freak off, right?
Yeah, dude. It's like, look, you got a legit alibi, but you gotta appreciate that. Yeah, you gotta take a look. Enjoy your vacation. Yeah. Because until we get this shit sorted out, you're not gonna be police chiefing anyone.
Just the optics, man. Back up. Hey, it's funny that he's defensive. He's like, man, I don't even fuck with bad boy, man. I'm a cop. Death row, nigga. Death row record. We the police. We fuck with death row. But of course, we just had to mention the story.
We had to mention it.
Also, Drewski was accused of sliding baby oil into women. So, anything to mention that on the podcast.
And we should also highlight that, like, look at us. We're being fair and balanced about the police. Look, so y'all could fucking shut the fuck up in the fucking comments of our videos of like, context, what about the context? Context. It's like, here's the fucking look at us. Look at us. We're giving the alibis. We are having the conversation. So shut the fuck up about us like being political about the cops.
We are objective. We'll be objective, even though, fuck the police.
Yeah.
It's still objective.
There's enough context for us to say fuck the police.
Also, them niggas be doing enough crime as it is. We don't need to make shit up for these guys. Exactly. We don't gotta fucking just be like, no, they do enough crime.
So we don't need those. What's the full story behind? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why a cop could possess child pornography that we don't need to jump to conclusions.
Was it even originally his hard drive? Maybe he was watching it for a friend. Did you even think of that?
Exactly.
So
look at us being fair and balanced. So shut the fuck up. So now, next story. I'll be reading from Atlanta Black Star. A wild video emerged this weekend showing an off-duty police officer assaulting a coach at a youth soccer game in Worcester County, Massachusetts. The incident happened on March 1st on the field of Teamworks, an indoor complex in Northborough, following a match between two all-girls teams. In the video, the off-duty Worcester officer is seen crossing the field to confront the opposing team's coach. After a brief exchange of words, he grabs the coach by his shirt and slams him into a fence before wrestling him to the ground. The clip shows other spectators jumping into the fray to try to pull him off, and many of the young players appear distressed, with one girl breaking down in tears. Parents who attended the game would not identify the assailant when approached by a reporter from ABC affiliate WCVB, but Northborough police confirmed to the outlet that he is a 36-year-old officer from West Boylston who is also the parent of one of the players. After launching an investigation into the incident, police charged the officer with assault and battery on March 8th, a week after the fight. However, his identity is still a mystery to the public. He was put on administrative leave, and according to a press release, his identity will not be revealed until he appears in a Westboro District Court to face the charges.
Why are they acting like he's like a superhero vigilante? His identity wasn't revealed. Whoever this masked crusader getting drunk and going to Little League games beating up people.
That 6-year-old girl was not offsides, actually. You know it. You knew it. This will not stand.
It's just a kid's game, man. It's just a kid's game to you.
Yeah. That's the coach. Be like, great goal. We're in the lead now. But remember what's important, girls? The fact that we're having fun. This guy's in the corner. I'm going to fucking kill that guy. Put on where's my mask?
I love they're just like this masked vigilante is still it's like unmasked. What do they say about him? His identity is still a mystery to the public.
Yeah,
it's just so
like,
funny.
Except for all the parents and the crying girls. Definitely that girl crying knows who
Johnson,
did it.
That's Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't even, listen, I don't want to get on defending cops 2 stories in a row, but this is, to me, just good classic American dad fun, right? This is white guy.
Yeah.
This is white guy fun. This is what they do in their 40s, bro.
Yeah.
Name another activity. You fucking, that's the weekend. Fire up the grill, cock back a couple brewskis, get drunk, and then fucking black out and DDT your son's Little League coach on the snack table.
I bet if we looked at like all the things this guy did that week, this is not going to be like in the top 5 worst things.
This is in line. This is like, this is just classic drunk dad.
Yeah.
Fucking suburban.
This is something his wife could be proud of, actually.
I mean, I think this story is actually like.
Also, to add on to that, it's funny that earlier, we had that quick side conversation about that other cop dad who had his daughter standing in the freezing cold. Like, as far as like parenting police officers goes, this is a good. Yeah, this is a cop.
This is a great dad.
This is a cop version of gentle parenting. I mean, sure. Did his daughter still cry witnessing her father beat up the opposing coach? Yes, but he did it for her.
For her. He was in her life. She wasn't standing out for 6 hours in the street. He was with her.
Oh my God.
I love that. This is a good dad.
It's a heartwarming story as far as our podcast goes.
It's not even heartwarming. This is Americana.
Yeah,
this is like what the country was built for.
Let's go more specific than Americana. This is fucking Boston, motherfucker. This is in Mass. This is a Boston ass story.
This is what we salute for, right?
Dude. Fucking Boston pride up in this bitch, dude.
Dad gets drunk, and then but also I read in the story which even further proves that this is like American story. The crowd they went around, they're like, "Who did it? Who did it?" And none of the parents wanted to give up the dad. Now, was that because he was a cop and they were afraid, or because they were like, "No, that's just how dads handle business."
Exactly.
Drunk,
they were like, "We support violence at sporting events here in Boston, Massachusetts."
I went down a rabbit hole of dads fighting at getting drunk and fighting at their kids' Little League videos. When I saw
just right now, or unrelated to this?
No, it was related to it, but it was a long rabbit rabbit hole of just videos.
It eventually became unrelated to this.
It was just a blur of like redneck, like just fucking drunk, like guy just like squeezing another dude's neck. It was like squeezing his HOA. I don't even know. He's like,
Yeah.
And all like the suburban moms being like, "Stop! We have class, not in front of the children."
Yeah.
It's like if you ever, get tired of like Googling like Karen at Arby's freakouts.
If you run out of videos.
Yeah, run out of those.
Like,
yeah,
this happens to Ashton all the time.
I've reached the end of the line when it comes to Karen freaks out videos. I'm done. I've seen them all. So now I'm on the other side.
YouTube's like, are you still here? Are you still watching these? Dude, are you okay?
Now I'm at drunk dad beats up little league coach videos. I'm running out of Karen freaks out.
Yeah, now you're at cop heartwarming stories of a cop loving his daughter. Sure, he was loving his daughter through the fist of the coach's face.
Those are the two wolves inside of me. Karen freaks out at Target, and dad gets drunk and beats up little league coach. Those are my YouTube algorithm.
Oh yeah. So now let's move on to a story that to me is spiritually related to this story.
Karen freaking out at Arby's.
Yeah. This story is like, I don't know, a couple months old, but I felt like it's time to bring it up right now. So we're going through Men's Journal, reading from Men's Journal, going to Cobb County, Georgia. An Atlanta sheriff called deputies to assist him after a Burger King restaurant screwed up his order. Body cam footage obtained by Channel 2 Action News shows. The incident in question occurred on March 14th, 2023, but is just now coming to light. Several angles of the episode are available, recorded by each of the responding deputies. One video shows a deputy approaching Cobb County Sheriff Craig Owens Sr., who is seated in the parking lot in the driver's seat of his pickup truck. Owens apparently summoned the deputies because he, as an elected official, was hesitant to complain about his order in person, which right away, hilarious. Like, I, as an elected official, have a responsibility to my constituents, and therefore, let me have multiple officers stop what they were doing and speed their way over here to deal with my Burger King order. Officers, by the way, it didn't mention it in this article, but these officers did put on their sirens and speed through red lights, literally sped through red lights, endangering the public for this elected official's Burger King order.
It sounds like he was the Burger King. He was like, I'm the Burger King, and I'm going to get my order.
Yeah, this is the spirit of these stories are off-duty cops, living their truths.
I love that. Like, he called back up. He
did call back up.
He got his order wrong. They got his order wrong or whatever, and then he called back up for that.
His walkie-talkie.
Yeah. Try that shit at Waffle House, nigga. Try that. Call back up at Waffle House. They gonna call back. Oh, you call it back up, nigga? We call it back.
Yeah, they're just gonna be like, oh, we got company. Click clack.
Yeah. The chef, the fucking pancake chef comes back. We got problems out here. Who said something wrong with the order? No, you gonna turn your body cam on for this one.
Yeah, cue Matrix music.
They know the cops know where to try that shit. Burger King, yeah.
All right, back to the article. So here now we're quoting the sheriff on the body cam footage. Quote, "Hey, do me a favor. All I need is the owner." So again, he's talking to the cops he called for backup. "All I need is the owner's name of whoever owns this damn facility or manager," Owens tells the deputy before explaining that the store confused the order of his female companion. "I wanted her a Whopper, no mayo, cut in half." Which, first of all, you're ordering a Whopper cut in half. To me, that's enough for a suspension.
Yeah,
that's enough for a DOJ investigation right there.
Fucking, what are you, a child?
Exactly.
What are they? I needed my food cut up into little bites because I'm a big boy, and she was supposed to use the fork and make it an airplane and go into my mouth. And then she didn't do that, so I had to execute her on the spot.
I look at it the other way, like not childish, but just like spoiled. Just like, I need to cut in half. I need to see that cross section. Yeah. Oh yeah, do it on a wooden cutting board, a nice one.
When I give orders, you got to do that shit. Yeah, like fucking. I don't get a fucking. cut in half burger. That's so. What's the difference?
I like when I make myself a burger. Whatever I make at home, I like to cut it in half. I do like to see that cross section. I put a little bit of myself in that act
weird
out.
Ass fetish. That's what's going on here.
It's nice. You get to see the cross section.
I don't
It's
know.
nice.
You made it sound sexual, nigga.
It is sexual. It makes it look good.
Man, that shit sound hella horny in that act.
Yeah, that's comedy comes from truth. Anyways, back to the article. When the deputies approached the Burger King, they found that the employees had locked themselves inside. After officers assured the employees that they were just there to resolve a food complaint and no one was in any legal trouble, the doors unbolted. And this is another example of, like, we mentioned this a lot on this podcast, but like these stories are mostly like covered by like local news. And the local news, like, they never, like, you know, they're not going to do these big editorials. They're not going to give big opinion pieces. They're just going to, like, report the facts.
Yeah.
And the facts are sometimes insane. Like this. Like, why would they lock themselves in? What led to that?
Yeah, that's like, man, what? Like, that's like on some movie shit where they're like, click, no one's actually leaving. You're all scared. Like, that's what the killer does right before he murders everyone in the building.
Yeah,
that's insane. That's an intimidation tactic. That's like, that's literally what that was for at Burger King of all. You have horrible taste, brother. That's
he was getting it for a lady too. That's why he was sticking up for the lady getting her order wrong. It's like, bro, you're already at Burger King. You already fucked up, dude. Just take your damn not cut in half burger and go home. But yeah, like they found the employees had locked, so they locked themselves inside. So they seemed to be like fearing the sheriff.
I thought the sheriff locked the door.
No. They locked themselves inside.
Okay.
And again, like we're just left to speculate. Luckily, that's what we do on this fucking podcast. That's what we're good at. But, you know, it's just like a little sentence and then it moves on. So why the fuck were they locking themselves inside? It's not a normal thing to do. So anyways, Owens, so this is the sheriff, is up for re-election this year, and the video was posted by his opponent, David Cavender. Cavender's associate, Mike Dondlinger, called the incident, quote, an abuse of power. I love that. I love how his political opponent...
Dude, no, showing your political... spreading a Karen video of your political opponent, that gotta be suicide. Is this what you want as a mayor? I speak of marriage! Damn, that's a bar right there.
But you say that, I looked it up. Owens, the sheriff, he won the re-election.
God damn it.
It wasn't enough.
Damn it.
It wasn't enough.
Yeah. As you should. Fuck, dude. That's crazy. He won.
Yeah.
Damn. He got the, guess that's what happens. You get the Karen vote. You freak out fucking Burger
That's
King.
True. There probably were a bunch of women who love.
That's how you get suburban moms.
Suburban moms who love their burgers cut in half.
Yeah.
And like looking at that cross section, they get it.
I don't see a problem. I think he should have shot everyone in the building. Honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd go far enough.
How come they got locks in there? Why are they allowed to have locks?
Did we ever see the manager? Has he been held responsible? Try him.
So that's, fun story. Now we're going to move on to a not fun story.
Great.
Ashton.
All right. LA via ABC7. This is a doozy. Where LAPD killed a migrant transgender sex worker who called 911 for help. New body cam video released by the Los Angeles Police Department shows the moments that led to an officer-involved shooting at a Pacoma motel room that left a 30-year-old transgender woman dead. The incident happened the morning of February 7th at a motel on San Fernando Road. According to police, officers with LAPD's Foothill Division responded after receiving reports of a possible kidnapping suspect inside the motel. The moments of the call indicated the person's reporting, later identified as Linda Becerra Moran, was being forced to stay at the location against her will, said police in a statement. Now, to summarize this article detailing of the body cam footage, it shows a woman suffering a mental health crisis. She is confused and agitated and tells the police she's been assaulted. The police appear to be frustrated with her. She's speaking in broken English and eventually tells officers that she wants to take her own life. That's what's going on. And she grabs a knife and she holds it to her own throat. That's like the situation. At that point, the officers exited the motel room, stood near the doorway. Police said the officers repeatedly verbalized for Moran to drop the knife. knife. They kept telling her to drop the knife. Moran did not comply and advanced towards the officers while still holding the knife. When an officer-involved shooting occurred, police said in a statement. Basically, she's holding the knife to her neck, walks towards them, they fire. In one portion of the video, you can hear an officer telling Moran to throw the knife away before she moves towards them. That's when Moran was shot, causing her to drop the knife and fall onto the bed. Moran was taken into custody without further incident. She was sent to a local hospital and later died of her injuries, which is like that part of the story. She was sent to a local hospital and later died of her injuries. I read they were in another article that was like the hospital's ethics committee made the decision to end life support for her after they were unable to reach her family back in Ecuador, which, I mean, to me shows like how the system failed her at every step of the way. She called the cops for her own. She's claiming she's being held in this hotel against her will. She's calling the cops for help. Also, mind you, she's homelessness. Remember the environment. She's homelessness. She's suffering from mental health problems, and she's calling the cops because she's claiming she's being held against her will in this hotel.
Yeah, so many like intersecting marginalized groups going on here.
They come to supposedly help the person who was called the cops for. They get her at the door. She's like threatening to kill her own self. And their response is to shoot to kill her. They're like, "Oh, you gonna kill yourself? Well, let's expedite that for you." Yeah. They shoot her, put her on in a critical condition. Then we take her to the hospital where, because we unless you're an American citizen, we do not care about you. They tried to contact her family in Ecuador. I'm assuming it wasn't. I don't want to put how much effort they tried to put in contacting these folks, but it wasn't enough. They tried to contact the family in Ecuador, couldn't reach them, so they took her off life support, and she died. So she like literally from top to bottom died. It was just failed by the system, and it's like super super fucked up. And like that's not to and like the injustice of them just taking her off life support because she was a migrant. That's horrid, but also the cops coming. After they received a call for a person is being kidnapped, essentially. Yeah. I'm being held against my will at a hotel.
And you watch the footage and you see their interactions. Like even before she had the knife up, even before she said she was going to harm herself, they're just like not being. It's a perfect example of why you would want someone who's better trained to exactly. They're immediately expressing frustration, and I'm going to make a speculative generalization type of thing to say here, but you can kind of assume that the majority of cops are not the most militant, like pro trans rights, pro sex worker, pro migrant. Like this, this woman was at an intersection of so many types of people that the police generally, politically don't align with. To put it lightly,
every group we throw away in society that literally, every group that literally won Trump the election, migrant, trans migrant. Are you fucking kidding me?
And I'm only bringing this up because you see their like immediate way they respond to her is not with empathy, not with kindness, not with concern, is just with frustration. And you wonder if it was like, a different type of person in a situation, would they be talking to that person a little differently? I think they probably would have.
Yeah. Well, when you create an environment where you go on like a debate stage talking about, and that when she's making it illegal for trans operations for migrant illegal. What did Trump say? Illegal aliens. Hold on.
Yeah, the operation. Yeah, exactly.
When you create an environment where your president's going on stage talking about like how messed up it is to get operations in jails as a trans person if you're a migrant or an illegal alien, like that type of stuff.
Yeah,
that's the culture we create, and these are like the horrific outcomes of that. This person was an innocent person. She did nothing wrong.
She did nothing
wrong. She called the cops. She put a knife to her throat. I'm not a police protocol ass nigga, but I just know regular logic, just basic logic. Oh, I'm here to protect people. You got a knife in your head. You threatening to kill yourself. The last thing I should do is kill you That's like
Yeah.
numbskull brain. That's like just like, you know, we got, that's when you're just a soldier, brute, fucking numbskull, like, I don't even know.
She wasn't brandishing the knife at them. What they say is like she started stepping towards them, but it's like, even then they had all exited the motel room. There was someone by the door. She started slowly walking towards them, but she wasn't brandishing it towards them. She had it up to her own throat.
Yeah.
And it seems like the type of suicide by cop kind of a thing. But it's like you mentioned earlier. It's like, well, if there's a suicide by cop situation, cop's job is to save that person, especially when there's not really an imminent danger in front of them. And it's like cops are not, you know, cops are not forced into their job. They have chosen to do this job. They have all this equipment that they're physically adept. Like there doesn't seem to be a reason why a person with a knife to her own throat, slowly advancing towards them, should result in, I got to unload my magazine right now.
I'm quite certain they have non-lethal. I'm not quite certain. There are non-lethal ways. The taser, they tase. They have that little gun that tases people. I just always get blown away when they choose the terminal,
the murder weapon,
instead of the one that puts people down temporarily. And that always blows my mind that they go for the kill, and not the, you know, let me put this person down and subdue them and then get them in a state of like outside of their frenzy. Especially with how many people they deal with like this. You mean to tell me you still haven't? There's no proper protocol, muscle memory. They just deal with this situation way too often for it to continue to be happening. This often.
But yeah, tragic, infuriating story. R.I.P. Linda Becerra Moran. Very, very, just very sad. So I believe last for today, excuse me, we're going to Tennessee via WSM4. Headline is titled, "Man with Autism Becomes Latest Sober Driver to be Arrested for DUI in Tennessee." By the time Charlie Hatch was pulled over on the night of October 29th, 2024, he'd worked a 12-hour shift and attended youth group at church. His family says he felt better setting this cruise control on his drive home so he didn't speed, and he accidentally hit the wheel in the process, swerving across the center lane. Quote, have you had anything to drink tonight? Officer Yap asked. No, sir, Hatch responded. Before youth group? No, sir. During youth group? No, sir. After youth group? No, sir. Nothing in the car? No, sir. Why are we stumbling? Why are the slurred speech? Yap asked as Hatch walked out to perform the field sobriety test. The body camera footage shows a clear look of confusion on Hatch's face. Huh? He replied. The end result was Hatch loaded into Yap's cruiser in handcuffs. The latest sober driver identified by WSMV4 investigates for being charged with a crime they did not commit. Shortly afterwards, the events of that night took a turn. Body camera video shows Hatch's parents, Andy and Andrea, arriving, telling Yap something he had not heard. Quote, he has autism, Andrea said. Does he? Yap asked. Yes, Andrea replied. Hatch's autism is mentioned several times in the body camera footage. He's just showing so many signs of impairment. All 3 tests, he failed all 3 of them, Yap said in the video. Quote, does it matter if he has autism? Asked Andrea. To me, yes. To the courts, I would also say yes. But he's going to have to argue that in court, Yap said. Despite the disclosure of his disability, Hatch was booked and taken to jail. Months after Hatch's arrest, his blood work came back with no alcohol and no drugs in his system. The DUI charge was dismissed.
That is an insane fucking story.
Yeah.
That is, he said, wait, what did he say? He said he just failed so many tests.
Yeah.
What is the field sobriety test?
Yeah.
Sir, have you watched any episodes of Young Sheldon today?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this field? How did he fail? I'm just blown away.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. I've taken a field sobriety test before, and I did pass, and I was drunk,
Nice.
But it was hard. And I'm just a guy, you know, I'm cool under pressure. I got it like that. But it's like the type of thing that if you maybe have like social anxiety or like any sort of anxiety, it's it's jarring. And so to be like he failed the field sobriety test, I'm gonna go with this just one variable that is a subjective variable and let it override everything else, including the fact you just learned this person is autism and you just like yelled like rapid fire all these questions at an autistic person. Like it's
that it's all of it's understandable why the kid like reacted the way he did, and it's just it's mind-boggling. Like this officer has never dealt with autistic people. Like why are we stumbling? Why are we slurred speech? That's like this is just a crazy story to me.
But you know, he had a 12-hour shift and he had a church youth group. It's
Dude,
at least have some sympathy for like clearly like a textbook good kid who was just swerving a couple times.
If cops are pulling over autistic people, we about to see a lot of cyber trucks off the road. It's my joke of the day.
So it mentioned a couple times in this article that we have yet another sober person taken to jail. Now this is a phenomenon going on. So I'm about to read an article that's specifically about Tennessee. But let me tell you, this is going on everywhere. In Tennessee, in Georgia, in Arizona. In Arizona, they have their whole other. We'll do another segment on just Arizona. Their whole original schemes they're doing with DUIs. In Colorado, it happened so much in Colorado. In Colorado, a man was twice arrested for DUI when he was sober. That's how much they're arresting sober people for DUI. That happened to one man twice.
Well, now is it the cops doing that, or is this nigga just a terrible driver?
It seems like it's the cops are just like taking any opportunity they can to arrest anyone they possibly could for DUI. And I'll go into like speculation about why in a second. But first, here's the article. WSMV4 investigates and covers more than 600 cases of sober drivers arrested for DUI in Tennessee. WSMV4 uncovered 609 drivers that were arrested for DUI in Tennessee who were completely sober at the time of their arrest between 2017 and 2023. WSMV4 Investigates reporting found a backlog of alcohol and toxicology tests at the TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, means innocent drivers are losing their jobs and insurance while they wait to clear their names. The data does not show where the arrests occurred or which police agencies made them. WSMV4 is now seeking reactions to the data from law enforcement agencies and prosecutors. We are also asking the TBI to release the locations of the arrests as well as the police agencies responsible. So this is kind of a currently unfolding phenomenon of so many sober drivers getting arrested for DUI. And so we've covered a lot of tangential things like with this. we did that Patreon thing about like all the breathalyzers that give false positives and how big of a problem this is. But here we have people taking the breathalyzer given to them by the cop, blowing a 0.0, still getting arrested for DUI.
And you're walking in a straight line. You're like... How can they even get away with that? How can they say you're drunk? I am completely sober. ZXYB. Oh, fuck. I don't know how to do the alphabet.
It's hard. I'm telling you. Not everyone.
How is that a test?
Yeah.
How is that even a test?
Yeah.
Say the alphabet backwards, dog?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's just like police, like pseudoscience. You know, racists have a long, like legendary history of pseudoscience nonsense, and police are definitely carrying the tradition.
Definitely feel like saying the alphabet backward is one an autistic person might be able to do.
Sure. But where was I going? Yes, on this topic of police falsely arresting people for DUIs, it's like you asked. That's where we are. Sorry, you asked how do they get away with this? Well, it's like they won't really get away with it in the sense that these people eventually, like this person Hatch in the last story, eventually his blood work came in months later.
And
so his DUI charge was dismissed. But in the meantime, these people have jobs. In the meantime, some of these people are fucking sitting in jail. Like, this is completely ruining people's lives. So the question is why? And I don't have an answer for that, really. Remember, I'm just a comedian on a podcast. But I will tell you this. Having tried to read into this, here's one incentive that police have to do this, and that is overtime pay. So cops and overtime pay is kind of a known thing, right? So DUI cops end up being some of the highest paid cops in the country when you factor in overtime pay. It's very easy for DUI cops to get a lot of overtime pay because not only is it very easy to just pull over anyone for anything at the end of their shift and then take them in for a false DUI charge that they will end up getting dismissed, but they get the overtime of like taking them in and booking them and going through all that. And then not only that, but when it's time for their trial, the cop gets to show up as a witness and gets paid overtime to be a witness at the trial that for the person they falsely arrested. And then again, even if that person gets like gets proven to be not guilty, the cop will still get their overtime pay for showing up at their witness. So there's one factor of like maybe an incentive for why this keeps happening. The other reason I think it might keep happening is maybe that cops a lot of times are just dicks, right? Like we see time and time again their ego taking the wheel. I think that's probably part of it. They don't want to let someone off after they've pulled them over for DUI. I think we can all agree that the profession of a police officer in any country, anywhere, at any point of time, the applicant is going to apply the type of people. It's going to attract the type of people.
Bullyish,
yeah. Ego-minded,
Yeah.
So that's kind of my theory of why this could keep happening, but it's happening all over.
Damn, I would be so pissed if you gotta sprinkle some fucking Budweiser on me, nigga. You ain't just sending me to jail with no evidence. That's crazy. That's crazy. You just saying.
But what do you mean? They're not going to. What are you gonna do?
What you mean? What are you
gonna do, Ashton?
I'll slap a cop, nigga. No, I won't.
Don't do that, please. If there's one thing I could ask for you in this podcast,
oddly enough, I've never been in the luck. I mean, it's not even luckily. I don't drink and drive, so I'm fine. But that's.
And for the record, I admitted to a crime earlier. I don't anymore. Those were my college days. I've matured since my college days. I don't drink and drive anymore. I wasn't even that drunk at that time, and 10 years have passed. So even if some of y'all haters want to get me for that, it's too late, motherfuckers. I got away with that crime that one time, and I do feel bad for drinking and driving, but I kind of did that one night, and I did get pulled over for a taillight or something, and they put me through the rigmarole, the whatever of all those tests, and
nigga sounded like Scooby-Doo. Rigmarole.
And they put me through the rigmarole. Somehow I made it. So God was looking out for me that day.
No, that's great. I mean, clearly, this story shows it doesn't even matter if you weren't drunk. Nigga, you still can get pulled over for drinking and driving.
Yeah.
Well, would you look at that? You learn something new every day, folks. So,
well, I think that's a good ending for our episode for today, or should I say our main episode.
We're about
to hop on the Patreon. We got more stories there. So if you want to check out our Patreon episodes, only $5 a month. You'll get a free bonus. Well, you get a bonus episode every week.
Catch us there. Meanwhile, we heading there now. Peace.
Later.